There's a strange feeling that comes after the rush of a purchase. It doesn't always hit right away. Sometimes it takes hours, sometimes days, but it always comes. It's that moment when you look at the thing you thought you absolutely needed, and you realize you were wrong. Again, the thrill is gone, the excitement fades, and now you're left holding another item in a life already full of clutter. Not just physical clutter, but mental clutter, emotional noise, that quiet weight of regret that says, I didn't need this. Why did I buy it? If you felt that, you're not alone. It's not weakness, it's conditioning. A system designed to keep you endlessly consuming, endlessly dissatisfied. And unless you step out of it, unless you take back control, you will live your entire life chasing things that never give you what you truly want. That's why today's video is not just important, it might be the one message you've needed for years. Because it's not just about saving money or organizing your space. It's about saving yourself. Before we dive deep, do this for you. Hit subscribe to this channel. Like this video if you're tired of being manipulated into wanting what you don't need. And leave a comment below telling us what item you regret buying the most. Trust me, you're not alone. And most importantly, click the link in the pinned comment. It's not just a link. It's a door to something that can help you reset your habits, your mindset, and maybe even your life. Thousands have already taken that step. This could be your turn. Let's begin by telling the truth. You will never shop your way into happiness. You will never purchase clarity. The solution to overwhelm, anxiety, insecurity, it's not inside a box arriving at your doorstep. It's inside you. But you've been trained to ignore that. Trained to believe that more equals better, that possessions are identity, that if you just had one more thing, you'd feel complete. And yet, with every purchase, that wholeness remains just out of reach. That's not coincidence, that's design. Minimalism isn't just about living with less, it's about wanting less. It's about reclaiming your ability to choose what matters. And that begins with recognizing how often you're being tricked into believing you lack something, when in fact, you have more than enough. The ads you see don't sell products, they sell insecurity. They whisper, you are not enough as you are. And when you believe that, you buy, again and again. But every time you do, you're reinforcing the lie. So how do you stop? How do you shift from mindless consumer to intentional minimalist? You begin by slowing down, by pausing in that exact moment when the urge to buy hits, and asking one powerful question. What am I really trying to fix right now? Because it's almost never about the item. It's about what you think it will give you: confidence, peace, control, and those can't be bought. When you live with intention, the world starts to look different. The shelves that used to tempt you feel overwhelming. The ads that once worked on you now feel desperate. You start seeing the psychological tricks for what they are. And more than that, you begin to feel something rare in today's world: contentment. Not the fake kind that comes from clicking buy now, but the real kind. The kind that grows when your space is clear, your mind is quiet, and you know you're not ruled by your impulses. But don't expect the change to happen overnight. You didn't get here in a day, and you won't escape in one either. You've built habits, emotional pathways, even identities around stuff. Letting go takes time, it takes patience, and sometimes it takes laughing at yourself. Because yes, we've all bought dumb things late at night thinking it would change our lives. Welcome to the club. The goal now is not perfection, it's awareness, and from awareness comes power. Minimalist habits are not rules, they're reminders. Small practices that bring you back to your values, that help you filter the noise, that train your brain to ask, do I really need this? Or am I just bored, stressed, or avoiding something? Most of the time, the answer will surprise you. Most of the time, you'll see that what you needed wasn't the item, it was a breath, a break, a walk outside, a conversation with someone real, a moment of silence. And those things cost nothing. You can break the cycle. You don't have to keep filling your cart in an attempt to fill a void that things were never meant to fix. Because here's the truth. The less you own, the more clearly you think. The fewer distractions you let in, the more connected you feel, and the more intentional you become. The more your life begins to reflect the peace you were always looking for. Now let's continue this journey in part 2, where we go even deeper into how minimalist habits can reshape your day-to-day behavior, your mental clarity, and even your relationships. If this part resonated, the next one is going to change everything. The real transformation happens not in the big, dramatic changes, but in the tiny decisions you make every single day, the ones that seem insignificant at first glance. Choosing not to open that shopping app, walking past a store without going, in unsubscribing from that tempting promotional email. These moments are where power is reclaimed, because discipline isn't built in giant leaps. It's crafted in the quiet, often invisible acts of resistance against everything trying to pull you away from simplicity. And here's the uncomfortable truth. Buying stuff you don't need is often a form of escape. It's a distraction disguised as reward. The moment you feel restless, uncertain, bored, lonely, stressed, your brain reaches for relief. And the fastest, most culturally approved version of that relief is consumption. Just buy something. Get that dopamine hit. Feel like you're doing something, but in reality, you're only burying the real issue a little deeper under a pile of receipts and regrets. When you begin living with minimalist habits, you stop treating discomfort like a problem that must be solved with purchases. Instead, you sit with it. You observe it. You ask yourself, what is this discomfort telling me? Maybe it's pointing to something you've been avoiding. Maybe it's telling you your life needs more meaning, not more items. Maybe it's asking you to simplify, not just your closet, but your choices, your commitments, your expectations. And if you think that sounds hard, that's because it is. But hard doesn't mean impossible. In fact, the very difficulty of this path is what makes it valuable. Anyone can fill a shopping cart. Very few can stand in front of something shiny, tempting, and say, "No, I have enough." That kind of strength doesn't come from owning more. It comes from mastering yourself. From knowing that your worth isn't tied to a brand, a trend, or the approval of strangers. Let's not pretend this change is always fun. You will feel resistance. There will be moments when you want to give in. When your mind whispers, "Come on, you deserve this." But what do you really deserve? A life free from guilt, debt, and clutter. Or another temporary high followed by a slow crash. Every purchase is a vote for the kind of life you want. Cast your votes carefully, because over time, they add up. You don't need to become a monk or live out of a backpack. Minimalism is not about deprivation. It's about precision. It's about deciding what actually matters to you and letting go of everything that doesn't. When you do that, your mind begins to breathe. Your environment becomes a reflection of your clarity. Your choices stop being driven by impulse and start being led by purpose. Look around you. Every item you see is a result of a decision you once made. And every decision either adds to your peace or subtracts from it. The question is, what kind of decisions do you want to keep making? Because each one shapes the texture of your daily life. Are you surrounded by intention or by distraction? By things that nourish you or things that numb you? When you live with less, you create space, not just physical, but mental and emotional. Space to think clearly. Space to focus on what actually brings you joy. Space to build relationships that aren't based on shared consumption, but shared values. And that space becomes sacred. It becomes your refuge from a world that profits from your confusion. Maybe you've tried before. Maybe you've decluttered a little, only to find yourself back in old habits. That's normal. This isn't a straight line. It's a cycle. And like any cycle, what matters most is momentum, progress, becoming just a bit more conscious each day. Because every step you take toward intentional living makes it harder for the old patterns to survive. The pull of consumerism loses its grip when you're awake, and here's where it gets even better. The more you stop buying things you don't need, the more you discover what truly satisfies you. Not in theory, in real life. You might realize that a long walk does more for your soul than a new gadget ever could. That a deep conversation lingers longer than the excitement of a delivery. That having fewer things makes it easier to appreciate each one. That your mornings feel lighter when you're not drowning in options, and your evenings feel calmer when your home isn't shouting for your attention. This is the gift of minimalist habits. Not a life of scarcity, but a life of clarity. A life where you finally have the mental and emotional bandwidth to focus on your goals, your growth, your relationships, your inner peace. And ironically, the less you seek outside yourself, the more richness you discover within. So next time you feel the urge to click buy, pause, ask yourself, what do I really need right now? Connection, rest, purpose. No purchase can offer those things, but your presence can, your discipline can, your awareness can. Minimalism is not about fighting against the world, it's about standing for your peace. In a culture that thrives on your distraction, choosing simplicity is a radical act of rebellion, and it's one worth committing to, again and again. If this message resonates with you, take a moment to engage with it. Like this video to support content that helps you reconnect with what really matters. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, because this is just the beginning of a bigger transformation. And most importantly, click the link in the pinned comment. There's an opportunity waiting there, one that could help you take these ideas even deeper into your life. You don't need more stuff. You need more space to be yourself. And you've just taken a powerful step in that direction. Keep going.